All right, now the problem we're working on here is 300 grams of methane are burned. How many grams of water are created? In our first video, we talked about how a mole is a group of things and the molar mass is the mass of that group. And we can find the mass of that group by adding up the masses of each atom. Math is shown here. In our second video, we talked about how to convert our grams of methane, 300 grams of methane, into moles of methane. And we did that just like we did this problem in red down here. If I have 50 pounds worth of cans, but I know that each can is 10 pounds, clearly I have 5 cans. And I did that by dividing. I'm going to do the same thing up here with the chemistry. 300 grams of methane divided by the molar mass, which is my grams per group, will tell me how many groups I have. In this case, 18.70 moles. In this video, we are going to talk about how to convert that 18.70 moles of methane into moles of water. Now, this is the strange one, so this video is going to be a little longer. All right, so what I see here is a recipe where I say, hey, look, 1 mole of methane makes 2 moles of water. See how that works? So what that's saying is that however many moles of methane there are, there's going to be twice as many moles of water. For each mole of methane, there's going to be twice that amount of water. Okay, so that means that I'm going to multiply this by 2. Now, a note here. Notice that I did 2 over 1. That's because my moles of methane are what I started with. So I put my 1 mole of methane on the bottom. Let's make a note about that, shall we? If you start with moles of A, then moles of A must go on bottom of your mole ratio. All right, cool. Now, what is a mole ratio? Well, let me back up. This is my chemical equation right here. And what it tells me, and this is pretty cool, is it tells me how much reacts to make how much. Okay, let's translate that into regular English, shall we? It tells me the amount of ingredients and the amount of product. That's what a chemical equation does. In this case, it tells me that 1 mole of methane makes 2 moles of water. So since I'm starting with moles of methane, I put the 1 mole of methane on bottom. And I put the 2 moles of water on bottom. Sorry, on top. I'm all backwards. Let me write it. That'll make more sense. Here's my mole of methane. Here's my mole of water. Whatever I start with, that has to be what goes on bottom. Always. Oop, I don't want that either. All right, so let's look at what that gives me. That tells me that if I have 18.70 moles of methane, and I'm going to make twice that amount of moles of water. How many moles of water is that? Okay, well, let me get out my calculator. It's going to be 18.70 times 2 divided by 1. 37.40 moles of water. Okay, so if 18.70 moles of methane react, it's going to make twice that, 37.40 moles of water. In the next video, we're going to learn our last step, which is how to go from moles of water to grams of water.